The night I first heard the grave whisper my name. The wind wasn't even... Well, it was one of those cold Midwest nights where sound travels strangely too far, too sharp, too alive. I had gone to film a small documentary about abandoned cemeteries for my channel, but I chose the wrong one. Hillcrest Graveyard wasn't abandoned. Not really. Something was still living in it, or living near it, or refusing to leave at all. And from the moment I stepped past its broken iron gate, I felt watched. Not by animals, not by people, by something old. I kept walking between the tilted stones, reading names long erased by rain and time. My flashlight cut through mist that shouldn't have been there on a dry October night. I remember telling myself that the air just held moisture after sunset, but when the mist moved slit-shifted like it was following me, I knew it wasn't air at all. My camera picked up nothing but static patches each time the fog tightened around my legs. Tem primera sa. W ite grave. And like the others, a narrow stone sunk half into the earth. Its surface cracked like something beneath it had been pushing from below. The name carved on it was barely readable, but the year of death stood out sharply. 1863. Civil War era. The dirt around the grave looked freshly disturbed despite the fact that no one had touched this place in decades. Dead leaves were scattered everywhere except on that grave. It was the only clean patch in the entire cemetery, as though whatever lay underneath didn't allow anything to rest on top of it. My breath came out in a shaky cloud as I stepped toward it, and then softly, like a whisper through a wooden door, I heard it. Daniel. My name. Not in the wind, not in my head. It came from the ground, from beneath the cracked stone. I froze, thinking maybe a prankster had followed me here. But the grave vibrated lightly, as though answering my fear. A faint tremor passed through the soil into my boots. Something was moving under there. Something aware of me. My camera light flickered violently, flashing white patterns across the graves around me. Then the Misno. The thing in the Mistros. It took shape slowly, like a figure drawn from smoke. A woman. Her hair hung in floating strands, drifting like underwater weeds. Her face lacked features except for deep, hollow sockets burning with an unnatural gray light. Her mouth was a torn line stitched by shadows, and her arms hung stiffly at her sides until she lifted one and pointed directly at me. I stumbled backward, tripping over a broken headstone. The moment my back hit the cold ground, she drifted closer, gliding, not walking, her feet never touching the earth. The grave beneath her cracked wider, the soil sinking as a handpail rotted. Longbong glowed upward as if trying to escape. "Free me," she whispered. The voice didn't match her torn mouth. It echoed all around the cemetery, layered, as if several voices spoke the same words at once. And then the hand broke fully through the earth. The skeletal hand groped blindly through the air, dragging chunks of wet soil with it. I scrambled backward on my elbows, unable to look away as the fingers stretched unnaturally long, joints cracking, skin peeling like old paint. The ghostly woman hovered directly above the emerging arm, her hollow eyes fixed on me as if urging me to help, or warning me not to. I couldn't tell which. The ground beneath the grave split with a muffled groan, and something beneath the dirt shifted upward. Another hand broke through. This one was darker, matted with clumps of earth and strands of decayed hair. My breath hitched when the sunken face surfaced, mouth stretched open in a silent scream. Its jaw unhinged so wide the bone glistened. The corpse wasn't rising on its own. It was being pulled, not by gravity, by the ghost. Her arm extended downward, phasing through the soil as though reaching into another realm. The corpse's body lurched with each pull, jerking unnaturally, like a puppet dragged by twisted strings. That's when I understood the ghost wasn't haunting the grave. She was bound to it, bound to whatever was inside it. Free me. Free me, she whispered again, but her voice trembled now, layered with something frantic, something desperate. The corpse's head lolled to one side, and those empty sockets turned toward me, soil spilling like tears from its cavities. And then its mouth. Run! I stumbled to my feet instinctively, gripping the camera even though every instinct screamed to drop everything and go. The ghost's head jerked sharply, toward the corpse, as if she had done he expected it to speak. For a split second, her face flickered, changing shape, aging, decaying, revealing the skull beneath the fog-like skin. Her mouth twisted open, wider, impossibly wide, stretching with a violent snap as a guttural roar tore through the cemetery. Then the corpse lunged upward. The grave erupted in a shower of dirt and stone as the body rose completely, dangling from the ghost's grip like a puppet dangling from its puppeteer. Fresh cracks tore across the earth, splitting the ground around the grave into jagged lines. I stumbled backward, nearly twisting my ankle as I fell against another stone. The ghost released the corpse. It collapsed onto all fours, limbs twitching, bones realigning with grotesque snaps. Its spine arched like a feral animal, preparing to pounce. I bolted. Branches whipped my face as I tore through the trees surrounding the cemetery. The fog chased me, running unnaturally fast, as if alive. I didn't dare look back until I reached the rusted gate, but when I did, my blood froze. The corpse was crawling after me. Not fast, not slow, just steady, deliberate each movement, guided by that whispering mist. And Bennett, the ghost, glided forward, her arms stretched outward, fingers curled like she was reeling me in. "Daniel," she sighed, her voice soft as breath, yet sharp enough to slice through the air. "Do not leave. You woke him." I pushed the gate open and sprinted toward my car, heart pounding so loud it felt like the night itself pulsed with it. My keys shook in my hands as I fumbled them into the door. But before I could climb inside, the radio in the car flickered on by itself. A whisper came through the static. "He will follow Ispoon around," and the fog had already reached the tree line. The fog spilled out of the tree line like a living tide, rolling low and fast across the ground. I jumped into the car, slammed the door, and locked Italiano. My hands shook violently as I jammed the key into the ignition. The engine coughed once, then again, then died. I cursed and twisted the key harder, praying it would catch. Nothing. Only a hollow clicking sound, as if something deep inside the engine was being held still. Then the radio crackled back on. Not whispers this time. Breathing. Slow, raspy, and uneven like lungs filled with dirt. I gripped the steering wheel. Unable. Tu moba. For a moment, I thought it was coming from the speakers, but then something cold tapped the rear window. Tap, tap, tap. I didn't want to look. My neck felt locked, rigid with terror, but some instinct forced my eyes upward toward the mirror. The corpse was standing behind the car, its head tilted in a broken angle, dangling by a single tendon. Soil seeped from the wound at the neck like dark sludge. Its fingers dragged across the glass, leaving streaks of dirt and something thicker, something almost black. Behind it, the ghost hovered, her body half dissolved into the drifting fog. The wind didn't blow, yet her hair floated around her as if underwater. She raised her hand. The corpse moved. Its spine snapped upright, jerking violently like a marionette being yanked by invisible strings. Then its jaw dropped open and a deep, wet, choking sound spilled out, vibrating through the air like a dying engine. Daniel. The voice wasn't hers. It wasn't the corpse's either. It was something beneath them. Something older. Something still buried. I shoved the door open and sprinted down the old cemetery road. My flashlight bobbed wildly in my hand. The fog tried to keep up, curling around my ankles like claws scraping for skin. But I didn't stop. Primera, good aunt. The trees thinned as I approached the main road, and the first faint buzz of distant traffic gave me a surge of hope. Then the ground shook. A low rumble rolled through the earth, and the asphalt beneath my feet vibrated like something enormous had just shifted underground. Primera looked. Viken instantly regretted it. Every grave in Hillcrest was cracking open. Soil lifted in dark mounds as skeletal arms pushed through the ground. Some bodies rose halfway, others only a hand or a skull, but all of them turned toward me, as if drawn by some unseen command. The fog pulsed around them, weaving through ribs, eye sockets, and tangled hair, and towering above the chaos, the ghost drifted forward, her form growing sharper, more defined. Her hollow eyes burned now with silver light. "You woke the grave," she whispered, her voice echoing through the trees like wind whipping against iron. "Now it wakes you." The corpses began crawling toward me, hundreds of them moving like a single, hungry swarm. I bolted for the main road, tripping over roots, breath burning in my lungs. I had almost reached the first streetlight when something cold gripped my ankle. Bony fingers. I hit the pavement hard, skin scraping across rough asphalt. I kicked with all my strength, heels smashing into brittle bone. The grip loosened, and I scrambled forward, dragging myself into the glow of the streetlight as though it were the only safe place left in the world. For a moment, everything stopped. The corpses froze at the edge of the light. The ghost hovered just behind them, her shape flickering, as if the brightness forced her spirit to thin. But then slowly, deliberately, she lifted her hand again, and the streetlight above me began to flicker. The streetlight buzzed violently above me, stuttering between light and shadow like it couldn't decide which world it belonged to. I stared up at it, silently begging it to hold steady, to stay alive just a few seconds longer. But the ghost's hand kept rising, inch by inch, and the bulb responded like it was under her command. Flicker? Flicker. Darkness. The moment the light died, the fog surged forward. Cold swept across the pavement, swallowing my legs first, then my chest. I scrambled backward, trying to find another lamp, another source of safety. But the darkness stretched endlessly in every direction. The corpses moved again, slow, scraping, relentless. Their bones clicked against the asphalt, a forest of creaking joints closing around me. The ghost drifted closer. With each foot she glided, her figure sharpened, no longer just smoke and shadow. Her face stitched itself together from fragments of memory and decay. Skin formed, then rotted, then reformed. Her eyes brightened with a dead silver glow. Her mouth tore wider, stretching to a jagged, unnatural grin. "You woke the grave," she whispered again. "Now you must join it." My throat seized. I stumbled to my feet and ran blindly, but the fog matched every step. The corpses followed, like a swarm of bones tethered to her will. Their steps were wrong, too synchronized, too controlled. She wasn't haunting them, she was puppeteering them. I sprinted toward the distant outline of an abandoned service station. It was small, half collapsed, but its metal sign still caught glimmers of moonlight. If I could reach it, maybe I could barricade myself inside or find something to fight with. Anything. I reached the door and shelved my weight against it. It cracked open just enough for me to slip through. I slammed it shut, twisting the rusted lock with trembling hands. Through the grimy window, the fog pressed against the glass like a living thing, swirling, testing the edges, then silence. For a moment, I allowed myself to breathe. My camera hung by its strap, cracked but still attached. I lifted it, hoping for a signal, any sign that the world outside still existed. Its screen flickered. Then an image appeared, shaky and static-filled. The cemetery, the grave, the ghost. But she wasn't outside a grave anymore. She was inside the station. Behind me, a cold breath slid across my neck. I turned slowly. She stood inches from me, no longer a drifting mist, but a fully formed apparition. Her dress hung in tatters, soaked with earth. Her fingers were long, gray, sharpened 2 points, like bone needles. Her eyes glowed bright enough to cast shadows on the walls. "You opened the ground," she whispered, "but you never closed it." She reached toward my chest. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My body locked, frozen in terror. Her fingers passed through my skin like mist, closing around my heart, not to crush it, but to pull. A force surged through me, dragging warmth, breath, thought dragging me out. Felt the world fade. Felt my consciousness unravel like thread pulled from a winter coat. And then I saw it. My own body collapsed to the floor. The ghost stepped back, her form dimming, flickering, freeing itself. But another figure began rising from the ground beneath the service station. A new shape, a new spirit. Me. I watched as my transparent hands lifted, trembling, dripping with the same soil that had covered the corpses. My voice then, broken, escaped on a whisper. Free me. The ghost stared at me one final time, and for the first time, her hollow eyes softened. You are a part of the grave now. The fog outside thickened, rolling toward the town beyond the trees. And I understood the grave hadn't been haunting that cemetery. It had been waiting to grow. Now, it had another voice, another soul, and I, its newest ghost, would call the next one.